So the science behind H2O. Water, the omnipresent enigma. Water is the only molecule on Earth that is present in all three states of matter: liquid, solid, gas. So liquid is water, solid is ice and snow, and gas is water vapor. Water is the weirdest substance on Earth according to science. Water is unlike anything else. For example, one of its anomalies is that it actually expands when it's frozen. This is why ice cubes float. Unlike any other substance, the frozen version is lighter and less dense than the liquid version. And here are just some of the anomalies of water. It's absolutely incredible how many anomalies there are with water. The hydrologic cycle. Now this is incredible. At any moment, the atmosphere contains an astounding 37.5 million billion gallons of water in this invisible vapor phase. This is enough water to cover the entire surface of the Earth, land, and ocean with 1 inch of rain. And for those of you who don't know what 37.5 million billion gallons is, it's 37.5 quadrillion, or 37 followed by 15 gallons of water. That's an insane amount of water vapor in our atmosphere. We are literally surrounded by water. Not only are we surrounded by water, but the percentage of water in the human body at a fetus is 100%. And then as we get older, into our elder years, we go to 50% water. So remember the leaves in the beginning? You can see as a baby, our skin is very elastic. It's very malleable. In our older years, we tend to wrinkle up and our bones tend to get brittle, just like the leaf that has passed on. As we get older, we have less water in our bodies. So this is why it's so important for us to drink water every single day. Because as we get older, we lose the water content in our bodies. So it's important that we replace it continuously. So the older you get, the more water you should be drinking. So you can save that elasticity in your skin and nourish your bones and nourish your body. So let me ask you a question. Everyone I've showed this slide to so far, at the end of that slide, they're like, I'm thirsty. So if you're thirsty, hit pause, get a drink, and come back. Fractalization of water. I think it's amazing that our body at adulthood is between 70 to 72% water, and about 71% of the Earth's surface is covered with water. It's fascinating how the human body is a fractal of the Earth's body in the water content. I came across this documentary a few years back, and it shows very succinctly exactly what I've been talking about thus far. So I'm just going to show you a quick trailer of the movie, The Secrets of Water.
The Earth maintains a constant amount of water. Just like you, Earth is a living, dynamic being. It has veins and arteries, which are connected to one large, thriving heart, the ocean. We are just like the surface of the Earth, at least 70% water.
You have hurricanes and typhoons, right? Hurricanes in the North Hemisphere and typhoons in the South Hemisphere. And you look at the way the weather patterns move on our planet, they go from the poles to the equator and back to the poles. They don't cross over. There's this double torus behavior of how the water and the electric fields and the magnetic field of our planet is behaving. So water is an expression of the structure of space-time.
We've been forming crystals for more than a dozen years. From our tests, we came to the conclusion that living water forms more hexagonal crystals, and less vibrant or dead water doesn't form hexagonal shapes. What concerns me is that water from any big city tends not to form beautiful crystals.
Water plays the key role in how information is exchanged. In effect, it is the medium through which all nature is governed. Depending on age, a human being is made up of 70 to 90% water. An adult drinks approximately 2.5 liters of water each day in order to sustain his normal life functions. Another 1.5 liters is absorbed through the skin during bathing or showering. How, in defiance of the Earth's gravity, is water able to rise through the trunks of gigantic trees against tens of atmospheres of pressure? In a seed, for example, it reaches 400 atmospheres at the moment of germination. That's why a plant shoot can break through asphalt with ease.
People don't realize that this substance, which is most common, has 63 anomalies. Every basic property is an anomaly.
The water molecule is a dipole. A molecule acting through its negatively charged end can attract another molecule by its positively charged end. This is how the structure of water is formed. Somehow, among the changing forms, one can see stable formations. It is within these structures that water retains information it has captured. These clusters work as memory cells of a certain sort, in which water records the whole history of its relationship with the world, as if on magnetic tape.
So if water are picking up and embedding our thoughts, what is it we are thinking?
You are the river. You are the ocean.
For me, one of the most interesting statements made in that trailer was that water plays a key role in carrying information. In this next trailer, we're going to get into how that is possible. This documentary is called What We Know is a Drop: The Mysteries of Water.
To what extent is water capable of picking up information? What does it perceive? And how does it remember it over time?
The Aerospace Institute in Stuttgart has discovered a relatively simple way of making the structure of a drop of water visible. The researchers have had their efforts rewarded by insights into a very beautiful world. Each drop has a face of its own, unmistakable and unique. Why are the individual drops so different from one another? We got a lot of people to come to a lecture hall here at the Institute, gave them all the same water, had them make drops at exactly the same time, collected all the drops, and then discovered that each individual produced different images from the same water. And here you can see the results. Here on the right you can see that the images of the individual students are different, but those made by a given student are all quite similar. This is the work of the first experimenter, this one here from the second, this from the third, and this from the fourth. Individually they can quite easily be reproduced, but you would never have thought that they were all from the same water, because when you compare the images from the different people, you see some big differences. Then we undertook experiments to find out whether things changed when we put something into the water. A real flower was placed in the water. A while later we took a drop of water, and here you can see one of the pictures. And you can see it in this picture. It's the typical image you get when you put a flower into water. You could recognize the flower in every single drop in this glass, of course. That can be reproduced and has significance. And if you were to put a different flower in here, for example, a Sweet William flower, then all the drops of this water would look like Sweet William. The statement that water has a memory practically changes our whole way of looking at the world, of course. Let's travel down the Rhine in the figurative sense. The water is flowing down the Rhine, picking up information everywhere it goes. So the water has more information at the mouth of the Rhine than it had at the source. And the Dutch, living at the mouth, when they drink that water, they're also drinking all that information. Thus, the world's oceans would no longer be something that separates us, but instead a giant storehouse of information, and the rain would perhaps be a data medium carrying information to the world.
So from the previous slide, we were talking about how water is a key role in transporting information. And now what we're looking at here is that water imprints on anything that it touches. It's like a magnetic strip, and it gathers all the information and carries that information inside of it. So when you touch a glass of water, you then imprint on that water. I thought this was fascinating to see that researcher 1 had identical prints, researcher 2 had identical prints, and researcher 3, each one had their own vibrational frequency imprinted in the water just by touching it. It shows that water is a magnificent carrier of information. So you guys remember from week 1 we talked about cymatics, sound frequency, right? So what we're looking at here is cymatics in water. And below, this is water with thoughts and intentions. So this is water that was introduced to sounds and then frozen and then looked at a microscope. So they played Mozart's symphony, then they froze it. You can see the geometrical pattern that comes out of the frozen droplet. Then looking at Imagine, John Lennon's, you can see the geometrical shape, love. Look how defined love is. Look at all those crystals forming in there. It's so amazing. Love is one of the most high potency frequencies that we can utter. And you can see the geometrical shapes is in reflection to that. Opposed to saying, I will kill you, which is one of the most negative things you can do or think. And look, there's no geometrical formation at all. It's just a mush. Then you have peace, thank you, and then you have the Fujiwara before prayer and the Fujiwara after prayer, showing that our prayers have a direct effect on the water. This wonderful research came from Masaru Emoto. Emoto believed that water has a blueprint for our reality, and that our emotions, energies, and vibrations could change the physical structure of water. Water has a memory and carries within it our thoughts and prayers. As you yourself are water, no matter where you are, your prayers will be carried to the rest of the world. And again, we'll look at those pictures in a bigger frame, showing the geometrical patterns when higher frequency vibrations are being presented. And when negative vibrational frequencies are being presented, not much is happening here. This next clip is a demonstration of Emoto's rice experiment. He used the emotions of love and hate, and then he did nothing. And the outcome is truly profound.
Dr. Emoto conducted another groundbreaking experiment. He placed rice into 3 glass beakers and covered it with water. And then every day for a month he said thank you to one beaker. You're an idiot to the second. And the third one he completely ignored. After 1 month, the rice that had been thanked began to ferment, giving off a strong, pleasant aroma. The rice in the second beaker turned black. And the rice that was ignored began to rot. Dr. Emoto feels that this experiment provides an important lesson, especially with regard to how we treat children. We should take care of them, give them attention, and converse with them. Indifference does the greatest harm. It may not always be easy to do, and almost always it takes practice.
Pretty interesting, wouldn't you say? Have you ever heard of the statement, where attention goes, energy flows? Well, that demonstration shows that with giving no attention at all is the worst case scenario. That even given negative attention is better than no attention. But the best possible outcome is giving positive, loving, compassionate intentions to not only to your kids and to your friends, but especially to yourself and everything around you. What do these 2 dishes have in common, besides them both being food? Yes, the steam. Remember, the vapor of water is steam. Would you agree? It gives a whole new insight into grace. So what we're doing when we're giving grace is we're creating a field of energy within us, a positive vibrational frequency, and we're projecting it at our food. But what we're doing is we're changing the molecular structure of the water in the food, making those crystals that we've seen when you bless something, saying peace, love, compassion. Remember the Fujiwara Dam water? When you bless it, those crystals form, and then we're ingesting those crystals, becoming a matched vibration within us. So we are blessing and then receiving. So it's so important to really give grace to all the food and even the drinks that you're consuming every time. Give a thoughtful, loving intention to your food and water and see what manifests inside of you.